All right, this is a short little lesson that I am going to be making that's going to talk about comparing fractions to other fractions, all right? So, what we like to do here is we first need to make something that's called a benchmark. So, a benchmark is either 0, 1/2, or 1. So, the reasons we use 0, 1/2, or 1 is they are very common numbers that we know how to use, that we can use to compare fractions to see which one's larger or which one's smaller. So in these cases, we're most likely going to be using 1/2 the whole time. All right? So if we look at this fraction right here, how much do we think is shaded? All right? So if we have that circle and we need to know how much is shaded, looks to me like exactly half of it is shaded, so it will be 1/2. All right, so now what fraction is shaded? Same question. Same question. 1/2. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one here is a little bit of review from last time too, but we're going to add it to show how we need to find 1/2 on these fractions. So here it says, write two fractions for the picture. Write an equal sign between the fractions. Okay, so we need to write an equal sign between two fractions from one picture. So I want you to pause the video here and go and try to get at least one fraction for each one of these. Okay, so pause the video and go do that. All right, so now we're going to do it together. So let's look at A, B, and C. We have to create one fraction for each of them here, all right? So for A, let's use green. We have 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box. So we know that there is 4 boxes in total. So that's going to go on the bottom there in the denominator. And we need to see how many are shaded. So we have 1, 2 that are shaded. So this is 2 out of 4. So now let's go to B here. And in B we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 boxes. So 8's going to go on the bottom here. And how many do we have shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is going to go on top. And now let's look at C. C has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 on the bottom there. And how many on the top? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 up top there. So we have one fraction for each one of these questions now. And now we need to create another fraction that equals the same amount. So we have to have that equal sign in between. So if we look at how much of this whole box is shaded in, right? How much of this whole box is shaded in? I'd say that's half, right? So let's look at how we could change 2/4 into 1/2. So these fractions, can both of them be divided by 2 to create something? Let's see. If we divided this by 2 and divided this by 2, what would it equal? 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. That equals 1/2 right there. Interesting, right? So let's go on to the next one. How much of this is shaded in? We have 4 boxes out of the 8. Are we able to divide 8 and 4 by 4? I think so. So we divide this by 4 and divide this by 4. And what does this equal? 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 1/2, right? And now, what do you think we're going to be doing for this last one here, right? Well, it looks to me like we have half of the boxes shaded again. Now, how do we move 8/16 into 1/2? Well, what did we do before? Before in A, we divided by the top number here. In B, we also used that top number, divided both the top and the bottom by it. So I think we have to do that the same. So 8 divided by 8 equals 1, and 16 divided by 8 equals 2. Once again, everything equaling 1/2. So now we have two equal fractions, 8 over 16 and 1 over 2, and those are equal to each other, as you can see on the picture. Okay, so here, everybody, we have fractions that are going to be equaling each other, but we don't have pictures anymore. We need to create our own fraction that's equal to 1/2. So before we had a bigger fraction and we moved it down to 1/2, and now we have 1/2 and we need to create a fraction that looks bigger but is in reality the same equal to 1/2. So from here, the 1 turns into a 5. And remember, if you go back in the video, whatever we did to the top number, the numerator, we also had to do to the bottom number, the denominator, right? So we multiplied 1 by 5 to get 5. So that means we have to multiply 2 by 5 to get 5. And what's 2 times 5? I know you know it. That equals 10, right? So if we were able to draw this into a picture here, right? And we have 10 boxes. So let's see how we're going to do this. We'll go 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add an extra one here. And we'll go like this. There we go. So we have 10 boxes. That means that all 5 of them are shaded, which is that. And that looks like pretty much half of that picture, right? So we know we're correct. So let's move on to the next one. On this one, 1/2 equals 7 over something. So how did we get that 7 over there, right? We have to multiply 1 by 7. And remember, whatever we do to the top, we also have to do to the bottom. So 2 multiplied by what? 7 equals 14. And if you want to check, draw a box, right, with 14 little things in here, and then color it all up, and you'll be able to find out if you were correct or not. All right, let's move on to the last one here. 1/2 equals 12 over something. So how did we get that 12 again? Remember, we have to multiply the 1 by 12 and the 2 by 12 as well, because whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. 2 times 12 equals 24. And let's see, if we divided those each by 12 again, right, it would equal 1/2. So we know that we are correct. Excellent. That one might be a little tricky for you, so go back and watch this video a couple times if need be, all right? Alrighty, so we're doing something pretty similar to what we did in the last slide, only this time, instead of having a number on the top here, we have this number on the bottom. So remember last time, right? Whatever we did to the top number, we have to do to the bottom number. So this time, whatever we have to do to the bottom number, we also have to do to the top number. So let's see here. So 2 turned into 10. What do we have to do to 2 to make it 10, right? What do we have to multiply? Here we're going to be using multiplication. So what 2 times what equals 10? I know we all know this. If not, you have a multiplication table in your planner, which you're more than welcome to use, okay? Or look one up online if you need to. So 2 times 5 equals 10. So we multiplied the bottom by 5. So that means we need to also multiply the top by 5. So 1 times 5 equals 5, right? And we did that last time. We know that 5/10 equals 1/2. So these next ones, they might get a little difficult. So you can use, I don't want you using a calculator, but you can use your chart, your multiplication chart if you want to, or you can count up as well. There's different ways of us figuring this out. So 36. How did we get to 36? What do we have to multiply 2 by to equal 36? Now this one might be a difficult question here. What do we have to multiply 2 by to get to 36? I wonder what that could be. So if you figured it out, you might need to pause a little bit. Maybe you talk to your parents and see if they can help you. But once you get it, it equals 18. Yes, 18 times 2 equals 36. So 1 times 18 equals 18. So it would be 18 over 36. That is going to be your answer. Excellent. So let's move on to the next one. This one might be a little bit easier here. So we have 2 times what equals 50, right? What equals 50? So then we could also do 50 divided by 2 equals So what are we thinking there? What are we thinking? 2 times 25 equals 50, and so we have to do it to the top. 1 times 25 equals 25. Boom, there we go. You do not need to worry about this last one. If you are able to get these three here, then you're doing an excellent job. Let's move on. All right, here we need to see if these fractions are more or less than half. All right, so let's take a look at these fractions together. Let's count them up. How many in total do we have on this one on the left? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we can put a 6 here. How many do we have shaded? 1, 2. 2. Okay, awesome. And now let's check on this one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded. So we need to know if these are greater than or, let's see, or less than 1/2. All right? So how are we going to know? First off, we can look, right? We can use our eyes. And let's see, does this one look like half of it is shaded in? I don't know. What's half of 6? I think we all know what half of 6 is. Half of 6 is 3. And is this big? Is number 2 there greater than or less than 3? It's a little less than. So we can pretty much make the assumption that this one here is less than a half. Now let's look at this one here. This one is 5/8. What's half of 8? We all know that 8 divided by 2 equals 4, right? Is 5 bigger than 4 or smaller than 4? It's bigger than 4. So we can probably assume by looking that the shaded part is over half. So we can write here 2/6 is less than 1/2. Remember, when it comes to greater than or less than, we like to call these Pac-Mans. And Pac-Mans are always eating the greater numbers, so the bigger numbers. So here, Pac-Man is eating 1/2 because 1/2 is bigger than 2/6s, right? So now let's look at this one. 5/8 is greater than 1/2, right? So we have Pac-Man eating 5/8 because 5/8 is bigger than 1/2. Excellent. All right, let's move on here. All right, here they want to know which pieces are shaded and which pieces aren't shaded. So we saw in the last couple slides there that the smaller numbers on the top here are always the ones that are shaded, right? So we can go ahead right away and write for shaded. There's going to be 3, there's going to be 5, and there's going to be 11. Now, how many are not shaded? We can't write 7, right? Because if we wrote 7 down here, because of this small number, we'd be lying. We'd say then that there are 7 not shaded. So how are 3 going to be shaded if there's the total number of pieces are 7? So what do we have to do? What's left? What would be 7 minus the 3 pieces that are shaded? So let's do some math. What is 7 minus 3 equal? That equals 4. So it would be 4 not shaded. And now here, what is 9 minus 5? Once again, 4. And now 20 minus 11 equals, what would that be? 9. So that's going to be 9 there. Excellent. So if you want, you can backtrack it a little bit here, try it over again if you want, and then move forward, all right? Okay, so this is a little bit of a trickier concept, so I want you to go watch the other 2 videos that do a really, really good job of explaining more of what we just looked at, all right? So I want you to go watch those, and then we are doing pages 21 and 22 this week, okay? Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to hearing from you, all right? Awesome. Have a great day. Goodbye.